Shalom, family. Thanks for tuning in to Sectarian Wisdom again. It's your man Elijah. And as usual, I am a wise, wealthy, rich God loved by the Most High Creator. Let's get it, family. Alright, family. So let's go. Today, as you see in the screen, family, in the top left corner, we are reading from a book today called the Kolbrin. Well, it's the Kolbrin Bible, but it just says the Kolbrin on front. But it's most commonly known as the Kolbrin Bible. This time, like I said before in earlier videos, I would have a PDF in the corner to follow along as I read. Matter of fact, as I was looking at it earlier, I know if I have the PDF going along as I read in the corner, it's going to be too small and you guys aren't going to be able to see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make the top left screen bigger so you guys can see the PDF as I go through. But keep in mind, because I didn't really go through the PDF yet. I didn't go through the PDF because obviously I don't have to. I have my own copy. But I just want to early warning. If any of you are familiar with reading the Bible, you know how the King James sounds different from the NIV. Although similar, there's going to be different words. So the reason I say that is because the PDF I have, I don't know if it's this Kolbrin, because the Kolbrin I have is the older version, and it hasn't been, what's it called? As they say, it hasn't been manipulated as much. It's more pure, I guess, if you want to say. The PDF might be the generic version that they might have changed a little bit in. So keep in mind as I'm reading, if something doesn't match up, that's because I have a more older version. So it's not So it's not changed as much as maybe a version that's a PDF or, you know, the copies that you can find at Walmart, you know. So anyway, family, yeah, like this one, no, I got this right here from a special occult store. So yeah, this ain't one you find in this Kolbrin. This ain't one you find in Walmart. So yeah. But anyway, family, let's get it. I'm starting reading the foreword. No, actually no. The introduction. And then from there, the foreword. And then, well, I'll let you guys know. And then on top of that, like I said, I'm going to have the PDF for you guys going as I read. So let me go ahead and, alright. Alright, family. This is, okay, there we go. We're going to start here at the foreword. And I'm going to try my best to keep it, pay attention and keep it scrolling as I read. Okay. Foreword. What is presented in this book is a reproduction of one of several versions. There you go. Which have existed in similar form since World War II. First in handwritten form, and then in typewritten. What is given here was never intended for multiple or commercial circulation, and there are valid reasons derived from experience why this should be so. However, believing it to be in the public interest, it has lately been decided that it should be made available now, subject to explicit conditions. As far as is known faithfully, follows the authenticated copy of a handwritten version reproduced early in this century. This was resurrected in a very dilapidated condition, but has been transcribed fully as found. Undoubtedly, in transmission, some personal correlations may have crept in, but the whole as it stands now, with its imperfections, is nevertheless a reliable and validated medium for bringing a body of spiritual truths into concrete being. It is the spirit behind the facade that is the all-important factor. The value of what has been salvaged and preserved here is not for the present compilers to determine, research, or edit. Their obligation is seen as being true records of what is there. Others better able may assess its worth. It is known, however, that some items which at their face value and in their context seem of little importance, contain within themselves something of intrinsic value to the spiritually aware. There are hidden depths which superficial reading will not reveal. The Kolbrin is tendered for acceptance at its face value, or more importantly, for its content of spiritual truths, or more importantly, for its content of spiritual truths, which in any religion are presented in a form peculiar to particular faiths. It is the degree of spiritual content expressed in any religion which establishes its statutes on the scale of human spirituality, the lifestyle of its adherents, their accepted precepts and practices, their moral standards, ethics, and social concern are what determines the worth of any spiritual philosophy. There have been and may still be associations of people who accepted the Kolbrin as the pivot point of their lives, and it is noteworthy from what is known that their lifestyles and the quality of their lives were enhanced through doing so. People who conduct their lives according to the precepts of the Kolbrin, in association with others of like mind, will know just where they stand in relation to these others. Relationships established among people who are committed to such precepts, whatever their religious inclinations, are far more firmly founded than others which are based on philosophies established on patronizing doctrines derived from cheap products obtained from the spiritual supermarket. One difficulty has been the fact that the guardians of the Kolbrin have never been literally folk, but simple craftsmen and people far removed from the scholastic and even commercial world. Although it formulates a distinctive spiritual philosophy, this book is not claimed to be anything other than a transmitter of ageless wisdom. It serves the common cause, the common good, and the common man through presentation in a particular form. The earlier preservations and subsequent compilations of the Kolbrin was the outcome of independent individual effort. Oh, I apologize. I'm not even moving the screen. I'm gonna move it. Let me find out where I'm at. Oops. Hold on. I apologize. Let me move it slow. So if you guys want to pause and read, for a minute while I go for, so you can make sure I'm not lying to you. Forgive me. I just gotta. All right, here we are. Okay. The earlier preservation and subsequent compilation of the Kolbrin was the outcome of independent individual efforts. No one can claim authorship, and the present reconstructors who have compiled the book in its present form are no more than transmitters who accept in good faith what has been passed on to them. You know what, family? I'm not going to sit here and stop every 5 seconds to just, let me keep going. Let me not be like that. Sufficient funds have been received to ensure the production of the Kolbrin and its subsequent continuance. It is incumbent on the compilers to ensure the conservation of these funds and to take adequate steps to entrust them. Irrespective of origins, okay, there we go. Irrespective of origins or contributors, the Kolbrin as a whole, and in its present form, has been adequately validated and endorsed by higher authorities as being a body of wisdom conducive to spiritual enlightenment. It embodies essential spiritual truths, irrespective of the manner of presentation. If there are a few extraneous items, they are not such as to affect the intrinsic value of the whole. Ethically, the Kolbrin holds its own with any other body of literature, and it is now offered to persons or groups seeking a philosophical focal point. This book enters the arena of life at a crucial stage in humanity's progress towards its destiny. At a time when the average family is becoming dysfunctional, when traditional values and standards, the concepts of true love, and the development of spirituality are under siege. These are the days of decision when humankind stands at the crossroad. The Kolbrin will prove a worthy companion to those who choose to follow the more inspiring and viral road leading to ultimate enlightenment in the realms of truth and reality. Yeah, family, I changed my mind. I'm not gonna sit here and continue to look. Just follow along. I'm not gonna do that because it's taken away from my reading and it's annoying, and I gotta stop and move it every 5 seconds. So no, I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm gonna just have this up there. You know what I'm saying? So look, I'll put the URL to the PDF in the description box. So there you go. So if you want to follow along, just go ahead and pull up the PDF. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and read because I don't want to keep doing that. That's going to be annoying. And yeah, I'm not going to do that. So yeah. All right. Anyway, I got to remind myself. I got to put the matter of fact, let me I'll remember it. Nah, I'll probably forget. Let me go. Forgive me, family. Forgive me. Yeah, that's like me. I was like, I won't forget. And then I'm like, actually, yeah, I'll probably forget. So let me, I apologize. Let me just go ahead and pull this back up real quick, family. Not the, I'm not going to have the PDF like I said, but I want to have it up so when I'm done, I remember where it is, and then I can just, remember when I'm getting it ready to upload. I remember because I see it to the side to make sure I put it in the description box because I forget stuff, family. So anyway, let's get back to it. Oh, hold on. Let me check something real quick. Okay. 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 Alright, family. So now I'm reading I just got done reading the foreword. And I'm already, how long are we in the video already? We already, 12 minutes, not bad. Okay, my bad. I always forget where the camera is. Now I'm reading the introduction. I'm going to have to get used to this one day, the way the camera is. That's where we are. Go to the PDF, people. Man. Okay, introduction. The Kolbrin in its present production incorporates a body of enlightened teachings, which are the treasure of the centuries, a light on the path of truth, and as applicable to the world today as they were in the past. And as, let me go back. The Kolbrin in its present production incorporates a body of enlightened teachings, which are the treasure of the centuries, a light on the path of truth, and as applicable to the world today as they were in the past. Applicable. There has, however, been a considerable amount of reconstruction, as the original writing survived only precariously. Most of what is presented here was actually salvaged from a pile of discarded manuscripts, and was partially burned and damaged by the weather before being reconstructed into a manuscript from which this is rewritten. Undoubtedly, additional material has been incorporated with good intent to fill gaps and elaborate on the original. Something may have been lost in the modernization of the various parts. The important point, however, is that this is not intended to be a historical record, an intellectual work, or literary effort. We'll see. I kind of think differently. It falls short of these and is rather a coherent and consistent body of spiritual teachings. It is on this aspect alone that it stands or falls. The spiritual truths presented here are all that matters. The rest can be regarded as an embellishment, a vehicle for presentation and conveyance. Yeah, I bet they would say that. The message conveyed, whatever its form of presentation, is always the essential core, and ethical, morally, and spiritually. The Kolbrin concedes nothing to other works of a like nature. It should be seen as an inspirational work, the substance of which can be accepted with confidence and trust. While great care was exercised in the past to ensure that these transcriptions would be transmitted through the centuries in a form as unadulterated as and unaltered as possible, little is known about the actual persons or body of people concerned. From what is known, the name Kolbrin was originally applied to a collection of manuscripts which were salvaged from Glastonbury Abbey at the time of its burning. Excuse me, family. The fire, which was arson, was intended to destroy those manuscripts, but they were secretly housed otherwise than in the scriptorium and library at the time of the fire. In any event, it was believed that these heretical works were destroyed, and as it happened, the fire proved to be a good cover for their preservation. Some of the manuscripts were transcribed at some time onto Some of the manuscripts were transcribed at some time onto thin metal plates, and collectively these were known as the Bronzebook of Britain. This designation was carried forward when they were written out in book form in the 17th century. The subject matter was then divided into chapters, and the paragraphs were numbered. The whole was modernized in the latter part of the 19th or early part of the 20th century. It kind of sounds like they did the Kolbrin how they did the Bible, adding verses and chapters. Not to say they don't help, especially when we're looking for certain things, but know that, like I said, this is what I always say, the Bible, there's really no such thing as Old or New Testament. All these are terms that were invented by so-called, I'm not going to go there. Incorporated in the modern Kolbrin are manuscripts which were traditionally claimed to have been copied from salvaged manuscripts which were not transcribed onto metal plates and formed as work known as the Kolbrin Book. During the second and third decades of this century, these books were in possession of a religious group in England which was never very powerful because requirements for membership were too restrictive. It would seem that throughout history the Kolbrin has always been on the brink of extinction, yet it has survived, safeguarded by a few who barely knew what it was all about, who were neither intellectual nor wealthy, and for whom the practicalities of life took precedence. Originally, there were 21 books, which were said to be 12 books of Britain, 8 books of Egypt, and 1 of the Trojans, but of their names there is little certainty. Only a portion of these books remains, and it seems that much of a historical nature has been trimmed away. It is known that at the beginning of the 14th century, there was a settled community in Scotland under the leadership of one John Cody. The old Codians, who were the guardians of what they called the treasures of Britain, were never numerous and loosely organized, membership being maintained by itinerant smiths, and other craftsmen. I hope I said that right. They seem to have previously been loosely known as Cofurls. The Kolbrin makes mention of wise strangers, and there is a tradition to the effect that these were the original Chaldeans. There are other explanations, but the writer is in no position to express any positive or worthwhile opinion. Does it really matter anyway? We are told that the Pharaoh master, a word of uncertain meaning, was Nathaniel Smith, martyred in the beginning of the 17th century. This appears to mark the end of the old Chaldeans as a coherent body, but steps were taken to preserve the Kolbrin. For a long time it was buried or otherwise hidden, but sometime during the early part of the last century, copies were written out in Biblical English, and 2 of the books were in existence just before the First World War. Since then, the various books of the Kolbrin have suffered many vicissitudes, and what remains is only part of the original. During the last World War, the old books were thrown out as worthless junk, saved and again discarded as heathen works of the devil, but luckily again salvaged before irreparable damage was done. It has not been easy to reconstitute them, even with the assistance of a more knowledgeable co-worker who filled in a few gaps with compatible references to modern works. No doubt, in its present form, the Kolbrin leaves much to be desired. The contents could perhaps have been condensed and much irrelevant matter deleted, but the compiler considered it his prime duty to preserve and retain every possible fragment and leave it to others better qualified to sift, revise, and condense. Obviously, some of the proper names are spelt wrongly, and some of the original correct ones may have been replaced by others, for it seems that in the past there was a biased selection of material to be included. No claim is made regarding historical accuracy, for the compiler is totally unqualified to voice any opinion in this respect. But as stated before, this is not an historical work, but the corpus of a doctrine and way of life. Whose hands originally wrote its many parts is unimportant, and it is even less important to know who transcribed it later, though some details appear in the modern section. The phraseology may be cumbersome and even ungrammatical because of the manner in which the biblical form of English has been modernized by one who has no scholarly pretensions whatsoever. It may be argued that this work should have been presented in its archaic form to preserve its authenticity, but the compiler disagrees. Excuse me, family, and we concur. The criterion by which an literary work should be judged is its message and intent, no its format. The words of themselves are sterile. It is the spirit of the whole that gives the Kolbrin meaning and life. What is presented there is an attempt to pass on as near as possible in its original form, with all its defects and shortcomings in style and presentation, something which will be of benefit to all. The original writers attempted to make words convey something beyond inherent meaning. They endeavored to build an edifice of glory out of common clay. The importance of what is given here lies in what is projected out of the past into the present lamentable spiritual vacuum, in the help it can offer to the ordinary man and woman, not in what it offers to the literary world. On this basis alone, these writings must stand to be judged. The worth of any knowledge is in its value, here and now in present day circumstances. We know from later books of the Kolbrin that for centuries its content had to be kept secret because they may have been misunderstood or found unacceptable. Perhaps they will fare better now. This book is resurrected with the sole intent of ranging it alongside the forces of good. Its publication will undoubtedly be difficult, for such a work can scarcely be deemed to have popular appeal. It deals with goodness and virtue, courage and morality, with spiritual ideals and human aspirations, all unpopular and despised fare in these days of decision. It seeks to enshrine love in a place beyond clamor and craving of the mortal flesh, and this alone may be sufficient to call down derision upon it. The same effort as was put into the piecing together and reconstruction of the Kolbrin, put into a book pandering to the moral weakness of society and exploiting the degenerate appetites of modern life, would undoubtedly prove more popular. But can it be said, even in these morally unwholesome times, that the value of a publication depends solely on its popular appeal? In the Kolbrin, the masters can record only the outcome of their own searching. They found assurance but cannot convey it directly to others. If others want it, they too must tread the path the masters trod. If others want it, they too must tread the path the masters trod. A long weary road not for the faint-hearted. The first step along that road is the study of the moral code and standards of conduct required. The next step is to put these into practice, making them the rule of life. They are the discipline which enabled the truly enlightened ones of the past to awaken inner perceptions and make direct contact with the universal source of truth. Only by following in their steps can anyone be assured of a path certain of reaching the desired goal. Originally, the Kolbrin was in two parts, the open book and the closed book, the latter being more properly called the Great Book of Eternity, the former being the Great Book of Life. What is presented here is the open book. Actually, this book contains nothing not already known, for mankind has never been without guidance. Truth and wisdom can be no one's monopoly. Therefore, many things expressed therein are to be found elsewhere. Superficially, the Kolbrin may appear to be just a jumbled collection of maxims and old stories, some incomplete. But to judge it from this standpoint is like analyzing the pigment. I'm gonna let that word go. Analyzing the pigments of the paint in a painting, and continuing and classifying the brush marks to discover what an artist wants to convey. To understand it fully, one must stand off and view it as a whole. Even then, comprehension must flow from the heart and mind, not from the eyes. A society progresses through social evolution, not revolution. But the woes displayed by present-day society indicate that the evolutionary trend has taken a wrong direction. The standards of the past, formulated to stabilize society, have been spurned, without any adequate substitutes being put in their place. This is the tragedy of the times. To get a more comprehensive view of where our society is heading, perhaps a better understanding of where we have been is needed. It is in this context that the Kolbrin is launched to take its place in the greater scheme of things. Alright, family, I just finished the foreword and the introduction. So now I'm going to jump into the first chapter right here. Here we go. And the first chapter is called The Salutation or Prologue to the Bronzebook. The Salutation or the Prologue to the Bronzebook, now incorporated in the Kolbrin. Greetings, unborn ones, now asleep in the dark womb of the future. Greetings. Well, never mind. This isn't chapter 1. I apologize. It's prologue. Chapter 1 is next. Matter of fact, I'm going to do a second video to start reading with chapter 1, because these Kolbrin pages, man, it's a lot of reading. And obviously you could, let me just keep going. The Situation or Prologue to the Bronzebook, now incorporated in the Kolbrin. Greetings, unborn ones, now asleep in the dark womb of the future. Greetings, unborn ones, now asleep in the dark womb of the future. Greetings from we who were once as you are now, and like who you will one day be. We too hoped and feared, doubted and believed. Were you choosing a gift from the past to the future? Were you choosing a... I apologize, family. Let me start over again. Greetings, unborn ones, now asleep in the dark womb of the future. Greetings from we who were once as you are now, and like who you will one day be. We too hoped and feared, doubted and believed. Were you choosing a gift from the past to the future? Were you choosing a gift from the past to the future? What would it be? The golden treasures hoarded by kings? The bright jewels beloved by queens? Is worldly wealth still so important to you? If that would be your choice above all else, we are disappointed, for our labors have been in vain. Would you prefer the secret of life, of eternal youth? Have you altered so little from those who live and laugh today, with no thought turned towards the future? This thing which seems so desirable, were it yours, would you value it? Would it never pall? Would you still be grateful for it after 1,000 years have passed? The answer would be yes, if this life were all, the beginning and end, complete in itself. But might not this life be no more than a prelude, an introduction to something infinitely greater? Is the riddle still unsolved, the secret of the ages still well kept, known only by a few? Even when these words are read, how many generations have passed without progress? Does mankind still lie passive like driftwood upon the sea of spiritual apathy, driven back and forth by changeable winds and conflicting currents, making no headway? Could we leave you the knowledge enabling you to live a life without toil, surrounded by every luxury and pleasure, a magic stone granting every desire, an all-healing potion, the ability to fly or know all things on earth? Would any of these satisfy the desire of your heart and fulfill your dreams? We who lie so far back along the road trust you have progressed beyond such petty aspirations. It is beyond our power to give such gifts, and were they ours to bestow, we would withhold them. For unless a gift confers a benefit, it were better not given. With the wisdom of our generation, with the wisdom of our generation, tell us, which of the things mentioned would really benefit you or even prove less bad than good? Or do you still remain unaware of your true nature and needs? Who you are, how you speak and dress, are you even like us in form? We cannot know or imagine. This alone we know as truth. You are brother beings of ours and travel the road we once trod. We share our destiny and have the same true goal. Through perhaps no more know in your day what there are than do in ours. Hold on. We share one destiny and have the same true goal. Though perhaps no more know in your day what these are than do in ours. Like to us, life comes to you unbidden. It is fraught with problems and difficulties. It alternates between light and shade. And like us, you wonder what awaits at the end. You too are victims of earth's delusion. You too find truth and perfection beyond your grasp. And you too aspire to beauty and goodness. These things we know about you. These things must be, or you would not exist. Your needs are no different from ours. But do you now know with certainty what they are? Your life serves the same purpose. You are part of the same pattern. You are ruled by the same impulses and urges. But do you know why and to what end? We know you are without certainty and assurance about what lies beyond the veil of death. For these cannot be given while man remains no more than man. And doubtless, like us, you remain suspended between doubt and belief. Our unborn friends, whatever your circumstances of life, you are the children of the past and heirs of those who have lived and died. We trust you have no cause to reproach those who once held stewardship over your estate. But whatever you think of the heritage, you cannot put it aside any more than you can refuse the obligations of life. Maybe it brings you the happiness and security, the peace and plenty we never knew. If so, this will remain unread, for to you it would be a wilderness of words serving no purpose. If you have progressed so far, nothing we could give would be of benefit. To the traveler, information about the road behind is worthless. If this is your state, we hail you. We are proud of you. Our worthy children of light, conceived in the long dark years wherein we labored and plowed our own short furrow. You have done well, and our greatest joy would be to stand beside you as you exultingly reach out for the crowning glory of godhood. But you may be no more enlightened than we, in which case accept our offering as a token of our regret, our desire to make amends on behalf of those who preceded you. For if you remain lost in spiritual darkness, the blame is theirs and not yours. This we give you, the hidden book, containing the accumulated harvest of wisdom and truth garnered over the generations, the bread and oil which sustained us and never diminished. May they serve you in your day as well as they served us. Above all, may you be sufficiently enlightened to receive them. For today we are persecuted because of our books, and most who treasured and guarded them are now dead. We can only consign these books to the ground and destiny, trusting they will be called forth at the proper time and in a receptive generation. These books which we had into the keeping of time were written under the authority of revelation and inspiration, containing truth. Their message cannot be attacked by time, for truth is an eternal youth. We make no claim to exact the accurate statements beyond the possibility of error and misinterpretation. For words are frail messengers. They are fallible things, unable to transmit accurately from mind to mind. Also, we cannot tell how they who resurrect the books will deal with the contents. They are written in letters known to the learned, but learning changes with the generations. These books are the glorious embodiment of eternal truth, but the words and expressions are unworthy garments supplied by mortal scribes. Unborn friends of the future, can mere words describe the bright-hued beauty of a sunset or the pale misty loveliness of a fragile moonbeam to a man born blind? Of course not. Even so, no feeble words of mortal man can describe things originating in the sphere of divinity, so that misconception and misunderstanding are not possible. Words are servants of the fallible mortal sphere, and when called upon to serve a realm of greater things prove inadequate. Therefore, be not like some petty-minded ones of our generation who say, the letters are misplaced and the words ill-used. They examine each blade of grass diligently, but fail to discover the purpose of the metal. Such men lack insight, and seeing only the bare letters say, these tell me all. There is nothing more. We have a saying, do not judge a place of instruction by its bricks. Wisdom being eternal, doubtless, this will apply no less in your generation. So, unborn, knowable ones, we humbly tender this, the gift of the past, which we could not pass on otherwise. If you have advanced far along the road towards greatness, it will have no value. But if you still dally or have wandered away, lost in the elusive mist of worldliness, and none answer your cries, then take this hand, extending out of the past. It will guide you faithfully as well. Down through the generations, men have been persecuted, have suffered and died, so that truth and goodness might prevail. Remember them. If the world is good, then your peace and pleasure have been brought by their sacrifices. If it is not, then you must not quibble over the cost to yourselves in making it good. Surely no torments and terrors in your days could exceed those of the past. Farewell, unborn ones, which these few words we have reached. Farewell, unborn ones, which these few words we have reached from the day of the present into the night of the future. We have planted the seed. Will it grown or rot in the ground? What crop will it produce? We cannot know. Let faith deal with it as it will. We have gathered the seed, flailed and winnowed it, and kept it with every care. We have planted well. We can do no more. My life deal better with you than with us. My life deal better with you than with us. May you never be denied the comforting hand of hope. Farewell. There goes some of those. That wasn't me reading crazy, family. That was a typo, I guess, or maybe that's just how they did that on purpose. Anyway, family, I'm gonna stop here, and I'm gonna do another video, and that's when I'm gonna start on chapter 1, cause yeah, I get tired when I read, and I start fumbling even more, and I want you guys to be able to comprehend more, because I know I've been going back and forth already, and I already spent 37 minutes just reading. Yeah, I already spent 37 minutes just reading the foreword, the introduction, and the salute or the prologue to the Bronzebook. So yeah, that was a good reading already, family. So I'm gonna do chapter 1 next. All right, family, as usual, thank you for tuning in to Sectarian Wisdom. I'm your man Elijah, and I am a wise, wealthy, rich God, loved by the Most High Creator. We got it, family. Let's go. All right, family, catch you later.